Cultivating self-love through Buddhist principles. Chapter 1. A Journey of Self-Discovery. Have you ever felt like your biggest critic is yourself? Do you find yourself constantly doubting your worth, replaying past mistakes, or feeling like you're not good enough? If so, you're not alone. Self-love is one of the most misunderstood yet essential aspects of a fulfilling life. But what if I told you that ancient Buddhist wisdom holds the key to transforming the way you see yourself? In this video, I am taking on a unique challenge, embracing self-love using Buddhist principles for an entire week. Can I truly shift my mindset in just 7 days? Let's find out together. Chapter 2. Why Self-Love Matters. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to do more, be more, and achieve more. Social media, societal expectations, and personal insecurities create a storm of self-doubt, making self-love seem like an unattainable luxury rather than a necessity. However, Buddhism teaches us that self-love is not about narcissism or selfishness. Instead, it is about cultivating inner peace, self-compassion, and acceptance. Without self-love, we cannot truly extend love and kindness to others. It's like trying to pour from an empty cup. You cannot give what you do not have. The Buddhist perspective on self-love. In Buddhism, self-love is deeply intertwined with mindfulness, compassion, and understanding. The Buddha emphasized the importance of recognizing our own suffering and embracing it with kindness rather than judgment. The practice of metta, loving-kindness meditation, teaches us to direct unconditional love first to ourselves, then to others. Without this foundation, true compassion for the world remains incomplete. Self-love is not about indulgence or ego-driven desires. It is about recognizing our intrinsic worth beyond achievements, beyond failures, beyond societal validation. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." When we love ourselves, we cultivate peace within, which naturally extends to those around us. Overcoming self-judgment with compassion. One of the greatest obstacles to self-love is self-judgment. Many of us hold on to negative self-perceptions, believing that we are not enough, not worthy, or undeserving of love. This internal dialogue stems from years of conditioning and attachment to external validation. Buddhism encourages us to practice non-attachment to these harmful thoughts. Through mindfulness, we can observe them without identifying with them. Instead of saying, "I am not good enough," we learn to say, "This is a thought, but it is not me." By cultivating awareness, we begin to understand that these self-judgments are fleeting and impermanent. With practice, we replace them with self-compassion, treating ourselves as we would a dear friend, with gentleness, patience, and understanding. The role of mindfulness in self-love. Mindfulness is the key to cultivating self-love. When we are truly present, we begin to notice the ways we mistreat ourselves, whether through negative self-talk, pushing beyond our limits, or neglecting our emotional needs. By becoming aware, we create space to respond with kindness. Practices for cultivating self-love through mindfulness. 1. Daily loving-kindness meditation, metta bhavana. Spend a few minutes each day sending loving thoughts to yourself. Repeat affirmations like, "May I be happy, may I be at peace, may I be free from suffering." 2. Gratitude practice. Each day, write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself. This shifts the focus from self-criticism to self-acceptance. 3. Breath awareness. Whenever self-doubt arises, pause and take a few deep breaths. Remind yourself that this moment is temporary and that you are worthy of kindness. 4. Self-compassionate reflection. Instead of blaming yourself for past mistakes, reflect on what you have learned and how you have grown. Growth is a process, not a destination. Embracing impermanence and letting go. Buddhism teaches us the nature of impermanence. Everything is constantly changing. including our emotions, thoughts, and self-perceptions, our suffering often comes from clinging to a rigid idea of who we are supposed to be. By letting go of this attachment, we open ourselves to self-love in its purest form, one that is not based on conditions but on deep acceptance of our true nature. Self-love, then, is not about perfection but about embracing our humanness. It is about recognizing that we are always evolving, learning, and growing. When we love ourselves, we stop seeking validation from the external world. Instead, we find peace within, radiating it outwards to others. The ripple effect of self-love. When we practice self-love, it does not just transform our inner world, it impacts those around us. We become more patient, more understanding, and more compassionate toward others. Just as a calm lake reflects the sky, a peaceful heart reflects love and kindness into the world. Self-love is not selfish, it is the foundation of all love. It is the recognition that we, too, are deserving of the same kindness we so freely give to others. As we cultivate love within, we naturally inspire others to do the same. In the words of the Buddha, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Chapter 3. Breaking the Cycle of Self-Criticism. Self-criticism can be relentless. Many of us have an internal dialogue filled with harsh words, comparing ourselves to others, and replaying past failures. Buddhism teaches that our thoughts do not define us. The key is to observe these thoughts without attachment and let them pass like clouds in the sky. At its core, self-criticism stems from an illusion of a fixed self, a belief that who we are is unchangeable and that our worth is tied to our successes or failures. This belief is contrary to the Buddhist understanding of anatta, or non-self, which teaches that our identity is not a rigid entity but a flow of ever-changing experiences. By clinging to self-judgment, we reinforce suffering, dukkha, and keep ourselves trapped in cycles of dissatisfaction. Mindfulness, sati, is a crucial practice for breaking free from this cycle. By cultivating awareness of our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them, we create space between our true nature and the mental chatter that seeks to diminish our worth. When a self-critical thought arises, I'm not good enough, or I always fail, we can simply acknowledge it. This is a thought, not my reality. Compassion, karuna, also plays a vital role. Instead of judging ourselves harshly, we can learn to treat ourselves with the same kindness we would offer to a loved one. Metta, loving kindness, meditation helps cultivate this gentleness by repeating phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be free from suffering, may I be at peace." Over time, this practice softens the grip of self-criticism and replaces it with understanding and self-acceptance. Another helpful Buddhist approach is embracing impermanence, anicca. Everything, including our emotions, thoughts, and perceived shortcomings, is transient. When we recognize this, we stop defining ourselves by momentary failures or mistakes. What seems like an overwhelming personal flaw today may dissolve tomorrow, just as waves rise and fall in the ocean. Shifting our self-talk is another transformative step. Instead of reinforcing negative beliefs, we can gently reframe them. Instead of, "I'm not good enough," we can say, "I am learning and growing." Instead of, "I always fail," we can remind ourselves, "Every experience is a lesson." This shift does not deny our struggles but allows us to approach them with wisdom and resilience. The path to self-acceptance is not about eliminating self-criticism entirely but learning to coexist with it skillfully. Through mindfulness, compassion, and an understanding of impermanence, we can free ourselves from the weight of self-judgment and cultivate inner peace. By letting go of the illusion of a fixed self, we open the door to transformation and a deeper connection with our true nature. Chapter 4. Buddhist Teachings on Self-Love. Buddhism offers profound wisdom on cultivating self-love. Let's explore 3 core principles. 1. Mindfulness, sati. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment. Instead of getting lost in negative thoughts, we learn to observe them with curiosity and without judgment. By bringing awareness to the present, we can develop a sense of calm and clarity, breaking free from cycles of self-criticism. Daily practice. Start by setting aside 10 minutes a day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. When thoughts arise, acknowledge them without criticism and gently bring your focus back to your breath. Over time, you can extend mindfulness to daily activities like eating, walking, or even washing dishes, ensuring that you stay anchored in the present. Benefits. Reduces stress, increases self-awareness, and helps break the cycle of self-judgment. Regular practice fosters resilience, allowing us to face life's challenges with equanimity and grace. 2. Loving kindness, metta bhavana. Loving kindness meditation is a practice that cultivates love and compassion. Starting with ourselves, by generating feelings of unconditional kindness, we replace self-criticism with self-acceptance and extend this warmth to others as well. Daily practice. Repeat affirmations like, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be free from suffering." As you progress, extend this loving kindness to loved ones, acquaintances, and even those you may have conflicts with. This gradual expansion helps dissolve resentment and fosters deep connection. Benefits. Increases self-acceptance, fosters a sense of connection, and reduces negative self-talk. Metta meditation has been shown to enhance emotional resilience, improve relationships, and create a deep sense of fulfillment. 3. Acceptance, upekkha. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means embracing ourselves as we are, without the need for constant self-improvement. By practicing equanimity, we learn to remain steady in the face of life's fluctuations and accept both our strengths and weaknesses without excessive attachment or aversion. Daily practice. Each morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, "I accept myself just as I am." Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses without judgment. Whenever you catch yourself engaging in self-criticism, pause and gently remind yourself that imperfection is a natural part of being human. Benefits. Promotes inner peace, reduces anxiety, and helps us move beyond self-imposed limitations. Cultivating upekkha allows us to navigate life with greater balance, reducing emotional reactivity and increasing our capacity for compassion toward ourselves and others. Integrating self-love into daily life. Beyond structured meditation practices, incorporating mindfulness, loving kindness, and acceptance into daily life enhances their transformative power. Simple acts such as mindful breathing during stressful moments, offering kind words to oneself, or practicing gratitude can reinforce these teachings. When challenges arise, instead of harsh self-judgment, we can remind ourselves, "This too shall pass. I am worthy of love and kindness." By nurturing these qualities, we cultivate a deep and enduring sense of self-love, one that is not based on achievements or external validation but rooted in our intrinsic worth. In embracing ourselves fully, we open the path to true inner peace and freedom. Chapter 5. Personal Transformation, My 1-Week Challenge. For the next 7 days, I committed to applying these Buddhist principles in my life. Here's what I experienced. Day 1. Observing my thoughts. I started by simply noticing how often I criticized myself. It was eye-opening. Throughout the day, I caught myself repeatedly engaging in self-judgment over minor things. A misplaced word in a conversation, a slight delay in completing a task. Initially, I felt frustrated, but I reminded myself that awareness was the first step toward transformation. By the evening, I noticed a subtle shift. I was no longer as absorbed in these thoughts. Instead of identifying with them, I observed them as passing clouds in the sky. This realization alone helped me detach from these thoughts rather than letting them define me. Day 2. Practicing loving kindness. I dedicated time to a loving kindness meditation. Sitting in silence, I directed kind wishes toward myself, my loved ones, and even those I had negative feelings toward. At first, it felt mechanical and awkward, especially when sending goodwill to people I found difficult. But as I continued, I felt a warmth emerging. My heart softened, and I noticed that my usual irritation with certain individuals lessened. By the end of the day, my interactions felt lighter, more compassionate, and less reactive. Even small acts, like genuinely smiling at a stranger or listening more attentively, took on new meaning. Day 3. Embracing imperfection. A mistake at work provided the perfect opportunity to practice self-compassion. I had miscalculated an important report, and my immediate instinct was self-blame. However, instead of berating myself, I paused and reminded myself, I am learning and growing. I took a deep breath and chose to see the mistake as an opportunity for improvement rather than proof of incompetence. This simple reframing lifted a huge burden off my shoulders. Later in the day, I found myself applying this same approach to others, recognizing that everyone, including myself, is doing their best within their current level of awareness. Day 4. Cultivating mindfulness in daily life. I focused on being fully present in each moment. Whether washing dishes, walking, or drinking tea, I slowed down and truly engaged in the experience. Instead of multitasking or letting my mind wander, I immersed myself in the sensations, the warmth of the water, the rhythm of my footsteps, the aroma of my tea. Throughout the day, I found an unexpected sense of joy in ordinary tasks. The present moment, when fully embraced, held a richness I had often overlooked. Day 5. Letting go of attachment. I reflected on the Buddhist teaching of impermanence. I noticed how my mind clung to outcomes, whether it was wanting praise for my work or expecting a particular response from a friend. When things didn't go as planned, I felt disappointment creeping in. Instead of resisting, I practiced acknowledging and letting go. I reminded myself that nothing is permanent, not success, not failure, not even emotions. This insight brought a newfound freedom. I was less caught up in expectations and more at peace with whatever unfolded. Day 6. Deepening gratitude. Instead of focusing on what I lacked, I made a conscious effort to appreciate what I already had. I began the day by listing 3 things I was grateful for. Throughout the day, I extended this practice, appreciating small moments, like the warmth of sunlight on my face or the kindness of a colleague. By shifting my focus, I felt an increased sense of contentment. Gratitude, I realized, was not about ignoring challenges but about seeing the beauty amidst them. Day 7. Integrating the lessons. By the final day, these practices felt more natural. Observing my thoughts, practicing kindness, embracing imperfection, staying mindful, letting go of attachment, and cultivating gratitude had all woven into my daily routine. The most profound realization was how deeply ingrained self-criticism had been, and how liberating it was to let go of it. This week was just the beginning, but it proved that transformation is possible, one mindful step at a time. Chapter 6. A Story of Transformation, The Angry Monk. To illustrate the power of self-love, I want to share a story from Buddhist tradition. There was once a monk who was known for his uncontrollable anger. He would lash out at others, sometimes without reason, and often turned that anger inward, berating himself for his perceived shortcomings. His fellow monks feared his outbursts, and over time, he became isolated, trapped in a cycle of frustration and remorse. One day, he encountered an elderly monk who had long observed his suffering. With kindness in his eyes, the elder asked, "Why do you hold on to this fire within you? Do you not see that it is burning you more than anyone else?" The young monk was taken aback. He had always believed that his anger was justified, a reaction to the wrongs of the world. But for the first time, he questioned whether it was truly serving him. Determined to change, he sought the guidance of his teacher. He began practicing mindfulness, watching his emotions arise without acting on them. He started each day with meditation, focusing on his breath, allowing the storms within him to settle. When anger surfaced, he met it with compassion rather than resistance, acknowledging its presence but refusing to let it control him. Slowly, he also cultivated self-love. He forgave himself for past mistakes, realizing that perfection was an illusion. He practiced metta, or loving-kindness meditation, sending thoughts of love not only to those he cherished but also to those who had triggered his rage in the past. He extended this kindness to himself, whispering gentle words of acceptance. Over time, his anger began to dissolve, like mist under the morning sun. He became known not for his fury but for his patience and wisdom. His presence, once turbulent, now radiated peace. The transformation was so profound that even those who had once feared him sought his counsel. His story became an inspiration in the monastery, a living testament to the power of self-love. It proved that the way we treat ourselves shapes how we treat the world. True transformation does not come from suppressing emotions but from understanding them. From embracing oneself with the same kindness that one would offer a dear friend. And in doing so, the monk found what he had been searching for all along, inner peace. Chapter 7. Practical steps you can take today. 1. Start a self-love journal each night. Write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself. These could be qualities, achievements, or even small acts of kindness you showed during the day. Over time, this practice will train your mind to focus on your strengths rather than shortcomings. To deepen the impact, reflect on why each trait or action is meaningful to you and how it contributes to your well-being. 2. Practice daily affirmations. Speak kindly to yourself, just as you would to a dear friend. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes, and affirm, "I am worthy. I am enough." Expand your affirmations to include specific qualities. I am resilient. I am compassionate. I trust in my journey. Repeating these affirmations daily will rewire negative self-talk and cultivate a more positive self-image. 3. Engage in mindfulness. Spend 5 to 10 minutes a day observing your thoughts without judgment. Mindfulness is not about emptying the mind but about creating space between you and your thoughts. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and simply notice your breathing. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the present moment. With consistent practice, mindfulness will help you become more aware of self-criticism and replace it with self-compassion. 4. Meditate on loving kindness. Loving kindness meditation, metta, is a powerful practice for cultivating self-love and extending compassion to others. Begin by focusing on yourself, silently repeating, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering." Then, expand these wishes to loved ones, acquaintances, and even those you find difficult. By radiating kindness outward, you will strengthen your inner peace and emotional resilience. 5. Surround yourself with positivity. Your environment plays a crucial role in your self-perception. Reduce negative influences by limiting exposure to toxic relationships, social media comparisons, and self-deprecating humor. Instead, nurture relationships that uplift you. Seek out books, podcasts, and communities that inspire personal growth. Engage in activities that bring joy and fulfillment. By consciously choosing positivity, you reinforce a mindset of self-acceptance and appreciation. By incorporating these practical steps into your daily routine, you create a foundation for lasting self-love. Change may not happen overnight, but with patience and consistency, you will cultivate a deeper connection with yourself, leading to a more fulfilling and balanced life. Chapter 8. Final Thoughts, a Lifelong Journey. Self-love is not a destination but a lifelong journey. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that we are already whole, already enough. By practicing mindfulness, self-compassion, and acceptance, we can transform the way we see ourselves and, in turn, the world around us. I invite you to take the first step today. Have you struggled with self-criticism? What has helped you cultivate self-love? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other content on mindfulness and self-improvement. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.